Would you like to learn what role our rational mind plays in eating? I know this is a broad question, so for now let's focus on the center of our decision making, the executive function. My name is Monica Kuzminskaite. I'm a health and nutrition psychologist, and this is my podcast, Spoonful of Reason. So, the executive function, it is a group of cognitive processes primarily controlled by the prefrontal cortex. We need it to evaluate situations and achieve goals. In the context of eating, executive function helps us curb unwanted behaviors and choose desirable ones in response to hunger, environmental cues, and emotional states. Historically, research has primarily focused on three areas. First is inhibitory control, the ability to overcome dominant automatic reactions and cravings. For example, the ability to resist dessert when we are not hungry. Second one is working memory, the ability to maintain focus and update information related to desired goal. For example, the ability to remember one's health goals or keep track of the food consumed throughout the day. And third one is cognitive flexibility. That is the ability to adapt to changing conditions or rules. For example, changing your plan if a healthy food choice isn't available. It is commonly believed that decisions about what we eat are the result of a constant cognitive conflict. On one hand, there is an impulsive or hedonistic system governed by the sense of reward and subcortical structures such as striatum. On the other hand, there is the executive function controlled by the frontal cortex. If the executive function is working properly and is not exhausted, a person's self-regulation works perfectly, and they behave as intended. If the executive function is overloaded and exhausted, then automatic hedonistic impulses take over, most often leading to the gratification of those impulses, overeating, or other unhealthy choices. Although it seems that everything here is clear, let's see what research has been conducted on this topic over the past 5 years. First of all, we've stopped thinking that it's just a matter of willpower. We now know much more about the structure of the nervous system and the effects of stress. And we've discovered precise interventions that work. Research shows that deficits in executive function in cases of overeating are rarely associated with general weaknesses in cognitive function. Often, such behavior depends heavily on the context and stimuli. People who score high on standard executive function tests, such as TROOP or go-no-go tasks, may exhibit significantly weaker motor and cognitive inhibition in tasks involving food stimuli, especially when the food is high in calories and has an intense flavor, so-called hyperpalatable foods. Severe psychological stress disrupts executive function by conserving resources allocated to the thought process, so its activity decreases. Stress hormone-driven subcortical emotional processing in the limbic system takes over, disrupting working memory, which is then flooded with faster emotions, leaving no room for slower rational thinking, and increasing sensitivity to eating behaviors driven by the reward system. Instead of asking, is this food healthy and good for me? We focus on the question, how can I get rid of this unpleasant state as quickly as possible? Studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging show that significant changes in executive function are observed in cases of eating disorders. In cases of binge eating and bulimia, activity in the frontal cortex is significantly lower. In contrast, in cases of anorexia, changes are observed in the frontostriatal circuits, which connect the frontal cortex to the striatum, which often indicates not a lack of control, but a lack of cognitive flexibility and, in fact, excessive control over eating. In cases of orthorexia, working memory impairments and reduced cognitive flexibility are observed as dietary rules are given higher priority than adequate food intake. Multiple studies are done on the non-invasive brain stimulation, such as transcranial stimulation of dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or DLPFC. Electrical stimulation of this specific area can temporarily improve executive function, reduce the urge to eat, and help control snacking. Now, would you like to apply this knowledge of the brain's executive function to strengthen your healthy eating habits? Then consider the following. Whenever possible, reduce the load on your executive functions. Organize your environment so that it's free of, at least visible, unhealthy foods and dishes, with healthy options easily visible and accessible, and portion out your food in advance. This way, you won't burden your brain with constant decision making, which is particularly challenging when it comes to food. Create and practice if then solutions to strengthen your mental flexibility. For example, if stress levels rise at work, then I'll go for a walk first and only then I will go to the kitchen. Take breaks to give your working memory time to kick in. Before acting on a sudden urge to eat something, take a short break, say 2 minutes. This will allow your slower, rational thinking to come up with a better solution. Manage your stress levels to protect your thinking. For example, get enough sleep, practice mindfulness, learn to solve problems productively, and to recognize situations that cannot be solved. That's all for this week. My name is Monica Kuzminskaite. I'm a health and nutrition psychologist. I help to deal with simple and complicated issues of emotions, thinking, and behavior. I write, I give lectures, and I provide psychological counseling. You will find the link to register for counseling session in the comment of each post, and you will find my posts on social media searching either for my name or for keyword Spoonful of Reason. Drop me a message if you have any questions or comments. And meanwhile, wishing all of you peace.